Hello everyone. Welcome to Chloe Rose. Hello, Chloe.
Hello. Thank you for having me again.
Yeah, we're excited today because we're going to share some of your experiences that you've been having through my new service, currently called the Building Your Heart Aligned Spiritual Business.
I have felt probably for a couple of years now that my business kind of reached a plateau.
Mm-hmm.
And I felt that I was sort of happy for what I was doing, but I felt like my abundance and my resources were reliant upon other people. I haven't felt like I was in the driver's seat, definitely felt a big creative block. Yeah, I was in this place in my business where I would have bursts of inspiration, but I wasn't dedicating enough time into really nurturing myself and feeding that inspiration into the earth. I think what really attracted me to yours was the fact that it was channeled and really, connecting heart to heart, soul to soul, connecting into guides. It was very intuitive, and the way that it flowed really called to me, because although you gave me some fabulous structure, which has really helped me and it hasn't felt controlling at all, a lot of it was inspiration that flowed, that felt like what I need at this moment in time, actually. And a lot of the things that you channeled are things that my heart has been calling for and yearning for so many years. I just almost haven't had that cheerleader to say, yes, this is you.
Wow.
I hope that answered your question.
Yeah, definitely.
Hands open your heart to the sound.
Outside of your life also reflects on the inside of your business. And how was the first session you did with me? How did that feel?
And we jumped on the call and it was just very much you connecting in with my guides, and straight away, and I knew she was there. My elven guide, Elmara, came through because she has been with me actually since before. She's been really coming through to me, just being like, go into nature. You'll get everything you need there. So she came through and we both immediately felt her presence. So that was awesome. It was like this instant connect, which obviously helped you to connect. And yeah, it was amazing. You got some clear answers straight away, because I feel like I'm always self-aware, and I know that I'm here to help people and support me, but it's like getting down to that nitty-gritty of the soul's purpose it's a tricky one, right? And things can shift and change and grow and evolve. But I remember quite instantly in that call, you got a clear answer about cycles, and about guiding people with cycles. And that makes a lot of sense to me as well, especially in the last few years, because I've been called back to the ancient ways of our ancient ancestors and the pagan path of working with the cycles. But then it's kind of going deeper and deeper and deeper when you think of cycles. It's infinite.
The biggest, and I feel this is also why we're both wearing black, and I figured you might be, is there was this reconnection with your dark side, with your darkness.
Yeah. It was so powerful having you acknowledge the darkness and the dark side, because like heavy metal is my first love, right? Yeah. It's what I listen to when I'm driving, it's just something that I don't talk about much. And like some of the happiest times of my life was where I would like make my own clothes and wear like really dark makeup and go to heavy metal festivals. Like I still look back at that time and I think that was just me expressing myself freely.
And what's helpful about that platform is you can text and voice messaging, and I feel like we quite quickly develop an etiquette. Sometimes you want to leave a lot, and it's like either of us would, share a lot that would come through in a big voice message. And sometimes, especially when we knew each other were quite busy, we'd leave a little message and say, here's this thing I'm doing, or I'm thinking about this, but it was a check-in each day.
See the shadows in you, the shadows in me.
On the recommendations of your guides to go back in time, in space and time, and perform a hidden witch wound session. How did it feel when, first of all, when you found out that's what we were going to do?
I knew it was coming. I will say that.
Yeah, that's good.
I knew it was coming. I'm pretty sure I asked for it, like soul telepathically.
Yeah.
Yeah, I knew it was coming. And I'd love to share actually like how powerful that session was.
Was I crying? I was crying, yeah.
I was like, I'm going to be the one that holds it together this time. It was an amazing experience. I mean, I love any of these experiences where we get to travel to past lives and kind of pick up the pieces and pick up the shards. Mm-hmm. And bring them back into your soul, because afterwards you just feel so much more vibrant and full of life. It's like finding literally like a chunk of you and then bringing it back into the physical. So, and then the more that we went into it, the more I started seeing it and feeling it. And there was, I was tied to the tree. I was tied up to the goddess tree, and I could feel it. I could feel it around my hands. I could feel it around my waist. And then the more that I allowed myself into it, I could come out, zoom out into a bird's eye view and actually see the gravity of the situation that was going on. But then in the healing of the session, I basically hid my powers in the tree, which is what we did. I was a witch that was being held up by assassin witches. I should write a book about this.
I know, a whole movie about it. I know, it's just all around the tree as well. It was incredible.
Because they wanted to harness my powers and use them for evil deeds. So I put my powers into the goddess tree, which was amazing actually. And then we set that past life version of me free. So yeah, it was an amazing experience and it felt very real. And then 2 days later, I actually went back to the tree and retrieved those powers. And I did a whole ritual around it. I held a funeral for that past version of me, but also any past version of me that was holding me back, the procrastination, the self-doubt, all of the heaviness. I wrote a poem. I took an offering of blood, flowers, hair. Like I just went whole hog, and this was all channeled to me. Like very specific instructions for this ritual were given to me after that hidden witch wound past life. So it was really powerful. Like it came to me straight away, and it was like, you need to go and do this, and it needs to be within the next few days.
Wow.
Yeah.
Whilst everything else, like you were just about moving home or just moved home at that point.
Yeah.
And your relationship as well. This was all huge changes. Mm-hmm. So yeah, congratulations on your bravery throughout, but those moments really stood out to me.
Thank you.
Oh, to see we are human.
I think I wanted from sort of a business perspective, some ideas of a sentence that looked and felt good and that wasn't too long-winded. So for me, it was more of like a structural idea rather than the words themselves. And, with your structure, I was able to create something that really resonated with me.
Oh, fabulous.
So it was having that bouncing back and forth that was really useful.
And your mission where you say, hi, I'm Chloe. I'm a full-time mystical creature, professional mystic, yoga teacher, quantum healer, nature medicine practitioner, and artist in England. And you say your mission is to help people break free from cycles of fear, reawakening their hearts and re-becoming the highest, true version of themselves. And you explain a bit about the how with drawing inspiration from ancient forests, cycles of death to birth, magical, and I love the spelling of magical, the right spelling, magical folklore. Join me on mystical adventure and come back home to your whole self by learning how to harmonize your shadow side to live a life of love, magic, and purpose.
Imperfectly perfect. And feeling.
There was also tenets. So these trade-offs we wanted to make between finding that to achieve that balance of work, your mission, and Chloe, your life, and all the cool, fun things you want to do in your life. And how did you find that experience of the tenets?
I liked it, actually. It was nice because it just made me think, yeah, actually, what do I want? And I think I mentioned this to you as we were working together. I'm someone who understands things quickly, but almost integrates things slowly. And I feel with the tenets now, it's something more and more every day. I'm sort of understanding more about what I want, and it's even you giving me that permission to write down the tenets for my business and, the agreements that I want and why I'm doing this. It's like, yeah, actually, I just want to read more and I just want to lay on the grass and read for like 4 or 5 hours and be fabulous, More and more of these things are coming up and it's becoming this beautiful way of really unraveling that overworking cycle that we can get trapped into, especially when we become self-employed and we just think that we have to work and work and work and work and work. We know that just doesn't serve. So the tenets were great.
And open your heart to the sun, to the souls to set.
But you sending me that video was just great because you went into detail and depth about a lot of the things that we'd spoken about. And for me, one of my issues that I shared with you is that I get a lot of these creative ideas, but actually putting them into action and making them make sense was something that I struggled with in the past. So that video, and then you sent me the written script of it, was super helpful for me because it was an idea, sort of how to think about structuring it and the details of it. And I was like, oh, this is great because that just gives me such a nice skeleton to work with.
Yeah.
These essential waves have just begun.
I just felt that I wanted to that feeling of the rubber hits the road, like when we're humans and we want to do the day-to-day things and we want some tangible tasks to do. I wanted to give you something that you could work from. And so what I did was I just set up a safe space and invited in your guides, and then I started I asked them questions and channeled, and I was screen sharing, right? So I was typing as I'm channeling, and it was really funny because it was the first time I'd realized fully why I'd spent 26 years in software and 8 years at Amazon. And now I'm like a spiritual guy, mentor guy, psychic. I'm like, so where were all these, like, how are these disparate things coming together? And there I was, like, channeling a spirit guide, typing. I'm like, I'm in a spreadsheet like I was at Amazon. I'm channeling as a psychic. I'm loving this. And I really enjoyed it. I enjoyed, like, I covered with your guide, Elmara. We went through, touched a little bit on the tenets. Then we went into like finances, some suggestions about creating the flow, and I gave you someone that you could contact, someone you could work with if you chose. Branding, some ideas. Now, I'm not a designer, and I'm not saying all spirit guides are amazing designers too, but it was the energy and the purpose behind the choice in coloring. So there's things like earthy brown, human skin, peach, brilliant white, blue in the heart. These are some of the things that we that came out of that. Some legal stuff like GDPR and a privacy statement, which was handy. I could just give you my my template for that. And then we went into a lot of detail, and this is some of the part I loved the most was diving into I asked, what is one service that I can help co-create with your guide for you that you can then that can be, you know, one of your flagship services, and it's everything, right? It's the including the questions at the start of a service definition, like who needs this? What problems do they face? What problems do people have? And then moving on to some of the practices that you could follow to support them through it, and what the benefits they get afterwards. So what they'd expect to get after the session. So it feels like it's about half a page of A4 notes that I've been scribbling, but I know I was talking a lot as well about it. And then I'll just list off the rest. There was like, we asked about one-to-one online services, recorded sessions, in-person sessions, packages of multiple services, mentoring, live streams, free services, membership group, training, group services, events, vlog, blogs, shop, including for magic wands and talismans.
But yeah, it was so helpful, and I actually have I printed off the list that you sent, and it's on my desk.
Oh wow!
So I can kind of like dip back in and out of it and say, do I have time to do this today? Do I feel like I want to do a little bit more work on that? So it's super helpful.
Wonderful.
And feel. Talk to your body.
And there was this thing that I keep looking at throughout our chat today is a big spreadsheet, like a kind of Uber spreadsheet, where we were just tracking the notes, and it was helpful because I could put in links to anything that we created.
Feel to heal. Get plenty of rest and walk on earth.
And another big thing felt like the weekly pattern, so the way of working. And it's not just work, right? It's the way of structuring your life so that you can build something where it supports both the business purpose. Do you see an orb just there? Just business purpose, bing, and then but balanced. And later, especially through the exercise with you, I realized not just balanced, fueled by all the joy and rest and receiving and the passions and all the things you love doing in your life. That's really what fuels your business, not the other way around. It's not some sort of I used to believe it was some sort of compensation, right? Like, oh, I get paid a salary, then my wife will love me. And it's like, no, that's so broken, Jon. No wonder you're stressed out and burnt out.
Yeah, I mean, that was definitely the most triggering part of the mentorship for me, because of my own shadows and the realization that throughout this journey I've gone through times where I've been strict with my schedule or been good about, not working on certain days, and then sort of lapsed because I've been like, oh, I need money, so I'll just say yes, 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 yes. And then you realize, oh crap, I'm working 6 days a week.
Wow. And
even that realization of having one client in a day, it's still a working day, and it's like managing the energy of that. Yeah, and it felt like, so that was the first realization of sort of accepting that I'd let that happen. That it was like I'd spread butter really thinly across a piece of toast unnecessarily, and I wasn't taking charge of my schedule. And then the second realization of why it was triggering was because I think that I hadn't realized within myself the possibility of only working 3 or 4 days a week. I said I wanted it, but I couldn't see it for myself. I couldn't see how it was possible. And you were very patient with me and you showed me your schedule, and you suggested a few things about moving around in-person clients. You made me realize that I can actually let go of one work opportunity, which I've had for a couple of years, that isn't serving me time-wise or financially. So I'm going to let go of that. And I think the key was your advice, of saying, really take charge and value the work that you do as well, and realize that it is life-changing what you do, and the energy that it takes and that it needs. So that was amazing. And then yeah, just realizing that I can do it. Just looking at it and slow, but also slowly over time. I think it was again this feeling of I felt like it needed to be done urgently, and that
Yeah.
was scary. But then when we took a step back, I think I asked you for a breather for a couple of days.
Yeah.
And then I came back into it and I moved a few things around and I thought, and then I realized, oh, I can dedicate a whole day to creativity. And then I started getting excited about it. And then I took a step back and I thought, okay, what can I do in the next 2 months? What can I do in the next 4 to 6 months? And then in a year's time, how do I want my schedule to look? And then I was like, okay, I can really do this.
Yeah. And then we also did a final session. So we caught up a couple of weeks later and we said, let's go through. So we created a safe space. It was under the title of Quantum Psychic Healing Session. So it was safe. I could bring in your guides. And I really left that to you to drive, to say, okay, what you've had some time, you've got tons of actions and already some huge transformations. Now's your chance to ask questions and clarifications and advice. How was that last session for you?
Oh, it was great because we'd covered the healing. I'd covered the action steps. So this was like a technical one for me. And I remember I had something clear in my mind because and it was great to have that break as well.
Yeah.
Between the last sessions, to have a break, to start working on things. We were still in contact and I was doing my walks in nature and posting and sharing, and there was just one thing that was still feeling uncertain for me, and that was the YouTube live streams, which was something that Elmara had suggested for me, which is great because I think it's a great thing to do, but there were a few questions that I had with the technicalities of it, and just about setting it up and what to do and how to do it and all of those things, and I asked you and we really got down into the details of that. So it was really great. Again, it was like another completely different session, and it was using all of your technical skills to support me. I'm okay with technology, but when it comes to things like that, if I'm going to do something now, I want to know what I'm doing and be able to do it to my best ability. So it was really helpful now. So when I have that launch date ready, I've got all of the information that I need to go for it. So it was great.
Oh, wonderful.
And that's such a great reflection, because I remember one of my issues that I had, which I shared with you, was that I feel like when I'm on social media that I'm performing, and I really don't like that. I don't want to feel like I'm performing or trying to be someone. And you said, well, why don't you try just walking like I do? And it's been a game changer for me.
And yeah, we went through, I think, a lot of other things. We talked a bit about some of you're asking questions about different programs you'd run. There was trackers that we kind of collated and kept a note of.
And open your heart to the sun, to the solstice energy.
Yeah, it was just amazing, and it was perfectly, divinely timed. With such a big transition in my life, it was like having this support in remembering my true self and remembering that it's okay to be really nerdy and weird and wonderful, because that's clearly a part of my life path, and I have honestly felt like so much more of a whole and complete person since doing the funeral and having that hidden witch wound. I feel like my powers have been activated, so my psychic abilities, writing poetry, and these poems are coming out as spells.
Yeah.
So that's going to be a part of the services that I offer if I'm doing a ritual for someone. So, breaking a cycle of fear. If we do a ritual together, I can write you a poetry spell that you can then use, to use the power of your voice.
Love your poetry.
Thank you. And all of this stuff it's unlocked these parts of me that have been active before in this lifetime, but I've just been burying under a pile of shit, basically, with no other word to put it. And this gave me the spiritual support and the more structured guidance that I really needed and craved, but from such a unjudgmental and unstructured way, in the sense that you're not trying to be anything and you're not trying to make me be anything other than myself. So you weren't pushing beliefs on me, you were just giving me options. And it was like the information that you gave me was fabulous ideas, but there's still so much space and room to grow on them. So it was almost like just giving these small seeds or like breadcrumbs to follow. So yeah, it's been just so amazing, not like any other coaching experience that I've been a part of before. So it's been fabulous. I feel excited. I went actually away for a week and I couldn't wait to get back, because I was like, I actually miss going for my walks and doing all my creative stuff. And I think that's like a powerful reflection of the work, is when you go away and you're like, I miss my life.
I'm done with the whole thing. I want back to this.
Yeah.
Well, that's amazing. Oh, thank you.
Sensor waves just begun. Tell it to the sun.
And you said something along the lines of, Jon, this is probably the thing you're best at.
Yeah.
That really stuck to me. It's like, it is. Maybe this all makes sense to me now. My guides were saying, Jon, the 26 years in software, why do you think you're doing it? And it's like, I thought that was a waste of time. It's like, no, it's part of the journey. But I just want to make sure, did I get that right? I'm not just putting words in your mouth.
Yeah, absolutely. I said that and I felt that, and there was something that clicked on this course. I just like saw you so effortlessly doing this work, and also just so passionately, and it just flowed out of you. You know, and you know, you and I have spoken before. Designing courses can be quite challenging and quite difficult, but this one just felt like it was just flowing from you, like divinely guided. And the way that you led it, it felt great. It felt good. You know, you were guiding it in such a heart-centered way. And yeah, all of your experiences and tools that you've learned over this lifetime probably weren't connecting before, but now it's like it all came together in such an amazing way, because you've got such a well of knowledge to support people, especially in the digital landscape that we're in at the moment. And it's like bringing those two things together, the spiritual and then the more technical and digital side of things. Yeah, you really have a gift of marrying those together and then helping support people that's in service of each individual's highest good.
Oh, that's so kind. Thank you. You're going
to cry again.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I am. Yeah.
And all the sun asks is what he dreams.
So congratulations on your transformation and your continued growth, both spiritually, personally, and in your business. And thank you so much, Chloe.
I think anyone who does watch this video, if you are ready to just go full force and say yes to yourself and your soul's mission, I can't recommend this enough. And it's like, it's full power in a short space of time, and it gives you that space afterwards to weave in this information like in any way that you wish. So it's like, it's intense, but it's also just really beautifully divinely guided, and you can take the information that you want, and you get incredible healings with Jon, which are just powerful and life-changing. So yes, it's fabulous. And we're here now, black twins.
That's right, yeah. Yeah. Oh, thank you. And what's the best way, if people resonate with your work and your energy, how do they best connect with you, Chloe?
So if anyone's interested in working with me one-to-one, my website is the best place to go to check out my services, which is mystichearts.org. Nice and simple. If you want to see more of my vibe and my energy, I post mainly on YouTube, also a little bit on Instagram. Both of those are at mystic_hearts with the E and the A as a 3 and a 4.
Completely forget to say this, but just visit jonbinnie.com. You can see it's already available in the booking page, or just comment on the video or email me at info@jonbinnie.com. Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you.
As you look to the sun.